What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we are in the shop with our 2008 Lexus ES350, and we are going to be replacing the air conditioning compressor today. So in our last video, when we introduced this car to you, we showed you some of the things that were wrong with it, and one of the major things is the air conditioning. The air conditioning does not work in this car. We went ahead and we checked the compressor. We have power to the clutch, but the clutch is not engaging, and the AC light starts flashing because it thinks the compressor is locked up. So we're going to be replacing it today with a junkyard compressor. Now, an OEM original equipment new compressor for this car is extremely expensive. Denso on Rock Auto is still upwards of $400. And I don't trust any of the Chinese, Four Seasons or whatever other, random brands are out there. So the next best thing you could do is go ahead and get an original equipment compressor. So that's what we did. We got a used one. So the one thing that we are doing before we install this is we are making sure that the clutch works, because that is a big problem. We want to make sure that this compressor will engage when we turn it on. So what we did here is we have our test leads hooked up. We're grounded to the frame or the body of the compressor. We have power going into the clutch, and we're just going to go ahead and turn our jump box on, and you'll hear the clutch engaging. So this clutch does work, so we know we have at least the clutch on this compressor will work flawlessly. Now, this has a 30-day warranty, so after we install it, we are going to run the AC for quite a while. And we do have a bunch of other repairs that we have to do on this thing, so it should be around for the next 30 days just to make sure that the compressor is in good shape before it goes over to its next owner. Now, all the videos, or most of the videos I should say, that I found on this job, everyone is taking all kinds of stuff here apart. They're taking out the radiator support, taking out the radiator, they're taking out the condenser. Some are even taking the bumper off. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to try to get this thing out from underneath. It looks like there's a ton of room under there, and we're probably going to have to drop the front subframe a little bit, but that is not a huge deal. So let's go ahead. Let's get her up in the air. Let's pull the wheel off. Let's get the belt off. We're going to walk you through the whole process, and then we'll go ahead and pull the compressor. Now, one thing that you are going to have to do is take your car to a shop and have somebody vacuum out the refrigerant out of the car before you pull the compressor. That is huge. Don't vent this stuff to atmosphere. It's not good for the ozone layer. It's not good for the environment. Get it evacuated. Then when you're done, bring it back to that same shop and just have it recharged. Some places might not charge you much, especially if they're just putting your recycled refrigerant back in. Save the environment. Save yourself. That stuff's not good to breathe. Do it the right way. All right, guys, so the next thing we're going to be doing here is going to be with the belt drive. We went ahead and put a 14mm ratchet here on our tensioner, and we're going to go ahead and release the tension, and then we're going to take a flat pick and stick it in the hole of the tensioner. That way, when we remove this belt, the tensioner will still be released to make reinstalling our new belt when we are done that much easier. Just go ahead and get this off of the power steering pump. Get our 14mm out of there. Now we can go ahead and get our belt the rest of the way off. Now, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and inspect your belt. If it is damaged or worn, it's a good time to replace it because you'll have it off. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing. And I'll show you why in just a second. Just to get you in a little bit closer, that right there is your tensioner. That is the 14mm you're going to get a socket on, and that is the hole that you're going to be sticking your pin in. Now, if you look here at our belt, you'll see it is all cracked and worn out and torn. We have a new one coming. I'll leave one in the video description below for you. So we'll just go ahead and drop that there. So now we are good to go ahead and raise the car up. You're going to want to pull at least one of these shields down. I already went ahead. I pulled one of ours out of the way. So you'll see it's right here. I could take that screw out and get it off the rest of the way. I think I am gonna do that. And then we can go ahead and support our subframe, and we're gonna remove this bracket. It's gonna be held in with a 14 here, a 14 here, and it looks like a 19 here. Before you take this out, be sure to support the subframe. So what we decided to do here is put our pole jack here on the side of the subframe, because I may have to remove the rearmost subframe bracket on this side as well, and that'll allow the cradle to tilt towards us and give us more room here, because this right here is going to be our pocket that the compressor is going to come out of right here. We're going to create a pocket here by removing this and dropping this, and the compressor should slide right out. So again, we're going to pull this bracket, 14s, that's going to be like a 19 or a 21, and then like I said, we may have to do the same thing back here, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now the reason we're deciding to do this way is because it's less invasive. I don't have to drain the coolant, I don't have to touch the radiator, and it's going to be easier. So okay, so we got the big one out. Let's go ahead and get these little guys. Okay, and this whole bracket will come down. Now we should, yeah, the subframe lowered quite a bit. Let's go ahead and pull the mount out on this side too, and see if we can get a little bit more movement out of it. Oh, that's quite a bit more. Excellent. Okay. All right, so now we can go ahead and start disconnecting our compressor. There's going to be 3 electrical connectors you have to take off. One is for the solenoid, the variable solenoid. One is for the lockout switch, and then the other one is the main connector. We have some AC lines we have to remove, and then we should be able to just unbolt it and pull it out. All right, so what you're gonna see here is we went ahead and removed some wire harness here. There's gonna be 2 connectors here that plug in over by the exhaust manifold. Those are for the O2 sensors. That is these plugs. You have this plug here that wraps around the side of the engine and goes to what looks like an oil level sensor. I guess because this is a Lexus, they added that. And then we went ahead and unplugged our main connector here from the compressor. And then there's another one here for that solenoid that I was telling you about. I'll just show you over here. You're gonna have this one and this one, and then the third one is for the compressor clutch. That can stay here, you don't need to touch that. And then we also went ahead and removed this bolt here and this bolt here and pulled the refrigerant lines off. So what we can do now is take a 12 millimeter and begin removing the compressor. That bracket with the wire harness is bolted to the compressor. So when you unbolt that, just kind of push the harness up and out of the way. And then we have to go ahead and reach the 2 upper bolts. There's one there, and then the other one is hiding up here under the alternator that we're gonna have to try to snake up there and grab. And then we can go ahead and try to snake this thing out. Now there was a power steering line right around here that I just kind of moved out of the way. It's right here. I had to unbolt a 10 millimeter bolt there. Like I said, we just kind of moved it out of the way. Now if I do need to, this bolt can come out more and I can lower this subframe even more. I'm hoping that I'm not gonna have to do that. It looks like we might have enough room. So let's go ahead and keep going. All right, guys, and what you're gonna see here is the compressor is now out. When I say out, I mean it's loose from the vehicle. So now we basically just have to try to move some things around and manipulate this in order to sneak the compressor out of the vehicle. So this is going to take some trial and error here. Let me just go ahead and move some of these lines around and see what we can't come up with. And when we get it out, we'll show you the end result. All right, guys, and what you're gonna see here is we got the old compressor out. The only other thing that we had to do is up here, there are 3 bolts or 2 bolts and a nut for the washer fluid tank. You are going to have to slide that over closer to the bumper to give the compressor enough room to slide out. You'll see the washer tank right here. There's gonna be a bolt here where my finger is. There's gonna be another one up here where my finger also is. And then all the way up top, there's gonna be a nut. You can reach it from down here. So now let's go ahead and slide the new compressor in. I'm gonna do that live. You'll see we'll slide it right in. We'll bolt it up and then we'll start reconnecting everything. Really like a dance here to try to get this in, but you will get it. Let's see here. There we go. One. We're in. Okay, rotate it into place, and let's go get our bolts to bolt it in. Oh, I am getting dripped in the face with air conditioning oil. Oh, I knew it. Okay, let's get that out of the way so I don't smell like Freon when I go inside. Now don't do what we just did. We put the lower bolts in without putting the bracket on for the wire harness. So don't do that. Make sure you put your wire harness bracket back in first. We have to pull the bottom ones back out and redo that. Out. How in the hell did I do that? There we go. Subframe was resting right where I put my harness. So that's why I didn't even see that. But let's go ahead and get this bracket in. And we're just going to start plugging in our various sensors here. Like we mentioned before, we have some oxygen sensors. There's an oil pressure switch. There's a bunch of different things that we need to go ahead and plug back in here. We're just gonna wrap up putting this wire harness together, and then we'll be back with you to put the subframe back up. All right, guys, so we went ahead, we hooked everything up under here. Our compressor is completely hooked up. The hoses are hooked up, wiring's all done. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the subframe back up. Now, what is super important for me to mention to you is you need to start these bolts by hand. Do not just run them up with a gun. If you cross thread this, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, because this is in the body and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to fix. So just walk around any subframe bolt that you loosened. We did these three, so 1, 2, and 3. Just make sure you put them in by hand before you run them down with the gun. And then you can go ahead and continue on with your job. All right, guys, we got our belt. We went with a Bando, part number 7PK2090. I'll leave one in the video description below. You'll see it right here. Right in the video now, I'm going to leave you a belt diagram. We're going to go ahead and install the belts, saving the tensioner for last. The tensioner is a smooth pulley, so we'll slide the belt over that pulley last. We should be able to slide it on pretty easily because we have that tensioner already preset in the unlocked position. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll show you how it looks when we're done. So this is definitely one of the trickier belts that I've put on just because of the way it is routed. It actually grabs the water pump twice, one at the top and one at the bottom. And then I got confused with the tensioner and the idler. So don't do that, because I came off the water pump and wrapped it around the tensioner the first time around, and then I realized I was wrong. So just take a good look at this from the compressor to the crank pulley, tensioner, water pump, idler, power steering, back up to water pump, idler, alternator, compressor. It's a little tricky, you'll get it. Again, that diagram hopefully helps you, but what we're gonna go ahead and do now, we're gonna lower this thing back down to the ground. We're gonna hook up our AC machine. We're gonna vacuum the system down, get any air that was in the system out, any moisture out. It's gonna boil the air out of the receiver dryer. And then we can go ahead and charge it up with the correct amount of fluid. And we're also going to be adding several ounces here of this PAG 46 air conditioning oil. This is what you use when you service one of these, your shop, when you bring it back to recharge them, or for them to recharge the air conditioning should take care of that for you. All right, guys, then with any luck, this should be your end result here. You'll see our compressor is bringing us down to a brisk, I want to call that right around 35 degrees coming out of the center vent in max AC. That's full blower speed, recirculate, and the temperature as cold as it will get, and that is exactly what you want. So with that being said, you just replaced your air conditioning compressor in half the time it would have taken you to get it out from the top, and you didn't have to touch the cooling system. So if this video helped you save some time and money, please like, share, subscribe. Consider buying some of the things that we used from the video description below. It does help us greatly, and we will see you guys next time.